Battlebots Reviewed, Episode 4. Review subject, Poison Arrow. Now I know I promised no more bots from my top 5 worst list would be in this series for a while, but I'm making an exception because I was unfair towards Poison Arrow. I stuck in the dishonorable mention lightning round, writing it off as a discount Minotaur with an unappealing color scheme. That is just absurd, and someone should have slapped me across the face when doing that. Now, before we get on to the review, I am going to be comparing it an awful lot to Minotaur, as they are both incredibly similar bots, at least in their design. Especially Seasons 2 and 3 Minotaur. That's where the similarities are numerous. So it only feels right to compare the two. Now, with all that being said, let's get on to the review. Shall we? Design. Now, both bots, at least Seasons 2 and 3 Minotaur and Poison Arrow, are very similar, and they're both single-tooth drum spinners and smaller than the average bot. But let's go over each of their attributes, shall we? Minotaur is a bit bigger, has 2 wheels, and has scoops for getting under bots, which is a good convenience. However, 2 wheels just leaves it more vulnerable to getting knocked around by its hits. Poison Arrow, on the other hand, has 4 wheels, meaning getting knocked around by its own hits is less likely, and has no scoops, which is a pain, and it's also way smaller. Probably because of that drone. Now, I do think Minotaur is the better design, as it's better armored, and it has those scoops, like I said, which are a great convenience. However, the 2 wheels and leaving it vulnerable to getting knocked around is an advantage that Poison Arrow has here, and I am willing to give it credit for that. Still, I think both bots are really good in their design department, and that's why, despite its weaknesses, I give this design a good 4 out of 5. Needs some refining, but still really good. Nonetheless, I love it. Performance. Now, the performance category is where the differences show. Minotaur's a bot who is really strong and very well driven. Poison Arrow is exactly half of that. It's not bad, and it's very reliable, it's just its drum doesn't have the same power that Minotaur's has. Except when it sent Son of Waiachi flying. That was a huge demonstration of power. But even with that, it didn't do that much damage to Megatento, and against Hypershock, it didn't really do that much damage. I think it only got lucky when Hypershock burnt up its motors. But aside from that, it was alright in the performance category. It's reliable enough, but the driving and weapon power is really what holds it back from getting any higher on that category. So that's why I give its performance a disappointing 2 out of 4. Not the worst, but I've certainly seen better. Appearance. Now, I'm going to keep this brief, as I think the greens aren't that ugly, contrary to my last opinion on it, and I do think it fits the whole poison aesthetic of it. Though I do think the single-tooth drum spinner is more iconic to Minotaur, and does stick out more with its more dull color scheme, as in it's more flat black. So, its appearance, not good enough for a 1, not bad enough for a 0, so let's give it a 0.5. Final score, 6.5 out of 10. Decent. Finally, the first at least decent bot I've seen in this series. Still needs some refining, and I wish they'd take it out of retirement, but considering Copperhead is around, I think that their team has moved on to it now. Thanks for watching, everyone. I am Aiden, the Superior Hyperior, and thanks for watching.